And 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hey, and we're here back on the Morning Bell with Mario J. Bell and the Pose.
All right.
And we have been waiting to do this interview for a little while now, so let's get right into it. We want to welcome to the show Mr. Derrick Brumley of Conquest off of Dark Star Records. How you doing, Derrick?
What's up, Mario? How you guys doing?
Good. A little cold, but other than that, we're all right. We're up here in
Chicago. You got your heavy coat on today, don't you?
Yes, I do. Even with the heat, I'm freezing. I don't know. I guess I got used to living by my parents for a little while down in Florida area, down in southern Florida. And, they think it's cold when it's 70.
Right.
So, yeah, but we're hanging in there, and we're looking forward to, seeing all the bands get back on the road and playing again. But let's start off from the beginning. You started off in the late 80s. How did you get your people together? Were you friends? Were you in garage bands before? How you going?
Pretty much, man. It was a weird revelation for me. When I was a 13-year-old kid, I wrote a song called Conquest. I don't know why I did. I don't know. I don't know. I just did. Well, a couple of weeks later, one of my best friends at the time says, "Hey, man, I'm going to get this drum kit from my girlfriend's brother." And I'm like, "Cool, man. I got this guitar. I traded one of my hockey sticks for. I played a lot of hockey back in the day, and traded off one of my hockey sticks for a guitar."
Hockey and metal goes together.
Right. So that started the whole thing, and pretty much from day one, it's been Conquest for me. So
awesome. So before 1988.
Hate to say it, but yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
I'm old. I'm just kidding.
No, we're not old. Look at, a lot of these metal bands are from the beginning, especially the thrash guys. They're in their 60s already.
Oh, hands down.
For instance, man,
what was it like in St. Louis in the metal scene?
Yeah. What was that like in the 80s? Was it similar, the big city, Chicago, LA, New York, or what was the scene like?
So we were kind of lucky to an extent, because if you notice, so you got Chicago, and then you got St. Louis, and then you got this big jump to Colorado. You know what I mean? Very few people stop in Kansas City. There used to be a couple places there. The Beaumont was there. We played there a lot on small tours. That was kind of like a, mid-sized room. But so everybody would stop here, especially the bands that were trying to climb. You know what I mean? Are you guys familiar with Mississippi Nights?
Yeah, I heard of them. Yeah.
That used to be
Washington University. Yes, yeah, I know about it.
I definitely heard of it. Yeah.
So it used to be like a legendary club here, right? So that always saw any band that was going to draw 1,000 people or less. They stopped there in St. Louis. So
like the downtown area, I think.
Yeah, that was right down what we call the Landing. Nobody goes there no more down to the Landing, but back in the time we're talking about, it was the place to be. So you had all the cover bands doing all in the time frame I'm referencing, say 85, 86, everybody was doing your Alden Nova style stuff, you know what I mean? And the clubs down here, and the Lover Boy and the Sticks and oh my God, all that stuff relentlessly. Again, nothing wrong with that, but it wasn't my flavor. I was more into the Priest, the Maiden, the Sabbaths, that's
the big fours.
Yeah. And by then, I was dabbing in, your Savages and your Testaments and all that, was where, my mindset was redirecting from the standards, you know what I mean? So, but St. Louis had a good scene. It really did, right up to about 91, 92. And then it kind of morphed into this, like you guys, being lucky enough to play up in Chicago enough to know what your scene was like. You guys had the same thing where the alternative thing came in, and everybody took off their studs and started wearing flannel shirts and all that.
Right,
well,
the grunge
we
stuff.
We didn't do that. You know what I mean? We didn't take off the jeans and the studs and the what we call leather attire. You know what I mean?
And so, where did you meet all the bandmates then? Are they also from down there? You met them in that era, 86, 85, that time?
Yeah. So what and the Conquest that you would know today, believe it or not, it's kind of crazy. So my bass player, Robert Boyer, you kill me for that one. I love that. Anyway, he played with me back in '83 when we were just like kids in the basement. You know what I mean? Really goofing, but it was still Conquest. You know what I mean? So for us, that's kind of cool. So he played back then, went off and did his own thing in a lot of cover bands and did his own thing. Wasn't an original band like Conquest is. So, like I said, cover tune world. And then about 1986, Tim Fleetwood, my current drummer, joined the band. And Tim's been with me, that whole time, that whole haul, man. And that was a run. Let me tell you, for a band that never, we never made it to the big leagues or nothing like that, but we were very lucky. We were very blessed, man. We got to play a lot of cool gigs and fun things that I always remind my bandmates that, riches don't always come in dollars and cents. You know what I mean? So
experiences at events and big, cool time of life, right?
And stories.
So,
I imagine you had stories.
Well, you're right. So take it from what was the name? Hobbs. Apple, the guy who died.
Oh, Steve Jobs.
Steve Jobs. Yeah.
Jobs, right. He said something when he was dying that's very true, man. Think about all the money he had, all the riches he had, all the success and all that. And he said it didn't mean nothing to him when he was dying because he had nobody around. You know what I mean? That loved him for him.
You can't take it with you.
You can't pay for the health, right? Yeah.
Right. So at the end of the day, I as long as the mind stays with me, I'll be able to remember all this stuff.
Yeah, great. And you've got a long list of stuff. I mean, I'm looking at some of the bands you played with. Tell us about that. I mean, you opened and were the main act, but you opened for a lot of the big. Speaking, we talked about the Big Four and Testament and them. You opened for these guys.
So there's a lot of cool stuff that happened to Conquest, like I said. So like I was telling you with Tim started in '86, and then we had some variations of style. I wasn't opposed. People threw us some budget monies and things like that. So we altered our, when I say altered style, we've done everything from hair metal, as you represented earlier, to thrash metal, to power metal.
Power metal. Remember, you're doing like a power metal thing with like the new album or power metal, right?
Yeah, man, I like all kinds of music, and I like thrash metal. But as I get older, I also like, again, I gravitate more back to the Sabotage vibes and things like that. It's just something that really sets well with me. So that's kind of what I do. You know what I mean? It's just the way it is. And
what would you consider the new album? Is that considered like a power then, or no? You don't think it's called power metal? This new album?
I think it's a power metal record. Yeah, I think it's a power metal record with a touch of thrash here and there. You know what I mean? Nice. And that's cool with me. Some people, obviously we've had heavier records, as far as aggression and speed. And some people say, "Oh man, you're losing." You know what? We can go fast. Again, as so many artists have told, I'm sure you, how many times do you do the same song over and over again? So and if I want to do that, I'll play that song, I guess is what I'm saying. You know what I mean? Mick Mars said something pretty cool when asked a question about, do you practice these songs? He goes, no, I already know these songs. I play them all the time. I practice what I'm going to do next.
Nice. Well, that's the thing about growing and progressing. It's nice to have a new sound, but then you don't want to get away from what you might have been known for back in the day either. You want to kind of mix it up, right? With this new album, I've heard a couple songs off it. I'm like, wow, this is great. I don't know who to compare you to exactly. Who would you say you're most like in terms of we talked a little about the Big Four and Testament and some of these other bands you've toured with. If you had to compare yourself,
so I would say exit Adrian Vesper, great friend, great guitar player. In comes Mike Crook, 1995, right? So then we jump back, mentioning what you just said. We went back to the heavier edge of who we are, and gave kind of a rebirth to the original style and sound that we liked out of the outset. So when Mike comes into the play, now you got. I'm a guitar player, singer. Mike's a great guitar player, and so Adrian was a good guitar player, but Mike is a lead ability that Adrian just didn't possess at the time. You know what I mean? So then you have this dual lead guitar thing, which gives us ability to trade back and forth, which puts us back over into, the Priest, Maiden, even though I sing and play guitar, you know what I mean? Type thing, which I've always loved. That's where I really, the Sabotage, Priest, Maiden, like I said, Sabbath. So them vibes come into play. So we progress, we make records, we do a bunch of different things, bunch of gigs, tours to get to where we're at now. So when we made the record, The World's Gone to Hell, pretty appropriate, don't you think?
Rose was saying that out there. It's like, did you plan that? Did you know things were coming up that might be crazy like the last 2 years here?
Well, man, I don't, when you look around, you turn on the TV, I don't care, again, what side of the political aisle you're on, all you see is chaos. You know what I mean? So it kind of, any common sense says stuff's going to get messed up.
Yeah, so it did, didn't it? And the album a couple of the songs on there definitely can reflect what we're going through now. I don't think you would think a president would get impeached twice. We didn't talk about that on the album, but kind of crazy.
and then you got to say why and who's doing this, and then this guy's this crazy that we be. It's just so deep. It's so deep, and I think there's so much stuff that you and I aren't privy to.
Oh, yeah.
We don't get that information. So
but
everybody's arguing. Think about it.
Like in your songs, your lyrics, you could sing about it, think what we think is going on, right? Talk about it.
Well, yeah. I gotta confess, we're in the middle of writing for the next record, since we couldn't tour. So we've been writing, and it's like, man, you guys give me so much lyric content. You know what I mean? All you gotta do is turn the TV on or talk to say, hey, the sun's out on Facebook, and you'll get 50 people go, it's not very bright, though.
I was going to ask you, where do you get your inspiration? But you just answered right there. You could go on Facebook and get plenty of topics. I know, especially today.
Seriously, comedians have a platform like no other to grab information off of, to make dialogue. I mean, seriously, it's pretty
and then
pretty amazing.
Music bands, and I've really been getting more into this genre later in life. I was more of an 80s. I liked everything from AC/DC to Devo. I mean, it was everything. Yep. But with all of what's going on in the world, I feel like metal, they really, they punch it out and they say it the way it is, kind of thing. And the feel, the energy. I'm really enjoying this, especially being on Rebel Radio. I mean, we play a lot of songs just like you play in your band. And we want to play some more Conquest, so we could talk to you about getting access to that, by the way, so this new album. But anyway, it's just, I love it. I love the genre of the hard rock and the heavy metal, and it's definitely growing on me, especially in today's time. There's no doubt about it. Well,
there's a lot to choose from. One thing so if you go in the pop world, right, pretty much everybody's chasing the same tail. If it's got this particular beat, the biggest hit song, everybody's got that beat. If it's got this vocal, everybody's got that vocal effect. If metal, even though it has trendy identities, in the vast picture of things, you got to really say, a brand new Slayer record, if that would ever happen again, doesn't look like a brand new Judas Priest record. That does not look like a brand new Godsmack record. That does not look like a brand new Marilyn Manson record
or Conquest. Say you guys,
our Conquest record, right? Yeah. So, but yet we're all fall under the category of heavy metal. I'm not a big, how you get these people that do all these big genre bump offs, Right. Well, I'm a heavy metal, thrash, doom metal with a touch of black metal wrapped in there. I'm not that guy. I'm more of a. Do you play thrash metal? Do you play pure metal? What are you? I kind of view Conquest as a pure metal band. In other words, you definitely hear, Sabbath overtones. You definitely hear Priest. You definitely hear Dio. You definitely hear, different bands, but we don't sound like those bands.
I can understand your lyrics still. That's the thing. You're not as heavy as some of the other ones, out there.
That's a real pet peeve of mine. As metal progressed, I think the bar lowered for vocalists. You know what I mean?
Like that.
Well, yeah. I mean, and again, not putting anything down, because there's a time and place kind of for everything in heavy metal. Song, sure. Take a band like, huh?
I was going to say I like those songs too. I'm just saying I don't want everything to sound the same. That's what you
Right.
think about is so true.
Right.
That it's good to have a different. You're a little bit, everybody's a little different. I like that.
And wouldn't you say so? Like everything, the hair bands, for instance. Go back to the hair bands. It lost its luster because everybody was identical. You know what I mean? And that's what's wrong with pop music, in my opinion. What made heavy metal so cool was it was an underground thing, and everybody strived to be different than each other. They didn't want to look like each other. They didn't want to sound exactly like each other. So in St. Louis, the reference back to there, when I seen the band down the street and they put on their, this army fatigue, for instance, or whatever. Well, I put on black leather or red, you know what I mean? I didn't want to look like those guys, you know what I mean? Because, the other band was doing it, you know what I mean? So
well, one thing you can say too is you have a very loyal following. So you're going to see the same people at all these different shows, seeing the different sounds of these bands, but you're going to have the same group, very loyal to the, music. I've noticed that being on Rebel Radio.
Hands down, heavy metal carries I used to worry about the age thing. I made a joke earlier about it, but I don't think it's relevant anymore. I really don't. I think that, like you said, take Rob Halford, 73-year-old man, Sammy Hagar, 73 years old.
Right.
I mean, so we went from a true metal band to a hard rock guy to a rock guy, whatever, it doesn't matter. Aerosmith, how long, when this is all over with, who's, the pandemic stuff, who's standing? It's going to be interesting, right?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing who gets back out on tour and who just decides to hang it up. But we've got some young acts that we've got going around, at least in the homegrown, we call it, era here in Chicago market, and they're pretty good. They're coming up. They're keeping it going, even with the logos on the shirts and everything. So it's still out there.
No doubt. There's
going away. But you got, Conquest, you're still out there, but some of the guys that have been around since the 70s, I don't know. I see what happens. They're going to be in Cabo or wherever they go, hanging out and listening to everybody else.
Well, again, take a band like Anthrax, take a band like, so if you go over to like the Devil Drivers, over to those bands, that's got the, a little unique sound of their own, but still the more the grunt style vocal. What about, Zakk Wylde, Black Label Society?
Yeah.
You got a lot of people that when Ozzy goes and those guys go, that will have a torch. They'll be able to be handed off, but we're starting to get slim pickings. You know what I mean? We're starting to thin out.
Well, I'm glad you're out there and you're doing your new album. So talk to us a little bit about the album. Where do we get to hear you online? I think I saw something about Spotify. Or is the whole album on there or just one song?
You can, the album's available everywhere. It's available in all formats.
Okay.
You can get it. I mean, it's available everywhere. Seriously, you can go anywhere that sells music. Obviously, Amazon, anywhere. You can buy vinyl. You can buy CD. You can buy download. So
and that's still through Dark Star Records, which is a offshoot of Sony, right?
That is Dark Star Records. Actually, they were they're based in Chicago, yes, and based in California, Jefferson, California. So that's what's up there. I know, great label, treat us well for the last 10 years.
There's another girl I know that is on there. Jenny Frank is her name, and she's been pretty popular in the Chicago area for years. But she doesn't do the metal. She plays some, but she's mostly like a pop singer, and like a folk kind of sounding. Yeah, but she's on there as well. So I know of you. I know of you guys through my friend Jason. By the way, that's how I found you guys, through my friend Crazy J. I guess you were on a show with him or something at one point.
Yeah, you got to give Crazy J a shout out, right?
Yeah. Hey, Crazy J, thanks for getting me in touch with Derrick and having Conquest on. So I look forward to playing some stuff on our station on Rebel Radio. So it was great meeting you and talking to you here on our interview today. Thanks for being on with us. Appreciate it.
Pleasure, Mario. Pleasure. And, the Morning Bell, make sure you guys check it out, man. Tune it in, spread the word on it. Okay, you guys?
Yeah, everybody, thank you for that. Appreciate it. Yeah, that's right. The Morning Bell here on Rebel Radio. And we will be right back after this. Okay.
All right. Can we do an official stating your name? And then
I state your name.
You're listening to the Morning Bell.
Probably. Yeah, right.
I mean, you can. It doesn't have to be the script that I know. It could be anything you want. You can be like, "This is the hardest station in the nation," or whatever it might be. Anything you can think of, we're happy with. As long as
we're called the hardest station in the nation.
Within a breath,
Gotcha.
All right.
Okay.
All right, I'm ready. I'll just not talk. Whenever you're ready.
What's up, everybody? This is Derrick from the band Conquest. You're listening to the Morning Bell on the Rebel Radio, the loudest station in the nation. Turn it up.
Nice.
Excellent. Excellent.
I like that one.
Can we do one more just for safety, just in case?
You could just say just the Morning Bell on Rebel Radio. Just make it simple.
Gotcha.
But I like you saying your name and the band, of course. Go ahead. Okay, I'll count you down. 3, 2, 1.
What's up? This is Derrick from the band Conquest. You're listening to the Morning Bell on Rebel Radio.
Oh, that sounded great.
Excellent. All right, cool. Thank you, Derrick.
Man. Thanks a lot for being on, Derrick, and being patient with the little quirks we were having there.
My pleasure, man. I really appreciate you guys spreading the word.
We will.
Like I said, spinning the tunes is what we're after. So anything you could do, I'd appreciate it.
Yeah. We like to play a song usually either right before or right after the interview, so we'll arrange for that. But now I know where to get it, so we'll hook it up. We see a video we could play of it even. So we're cool. Thank you for being on.
Mario, you should hit up Jeff and have him send you a copy for free.
Oh, if he wants to do that, I will. I see it on your website. I'll go and contact him.
Perfect.
All right. Thank you, sir.
All right.
You're welcome.
Take care. Stay warm. Have a happy Valentine's Day weekend.
You too, buddy.
Bye-bye.